In 2016, the world lost more than a little bit of its magic when Prince tragically died at the age of 57. Prince was a lot of things, including a revered guitarist. In addition to his guitar skills, he had a slew of iconic instruments. One of those was the Cloud guitar, which made its debut in Purple Rain. For years, I've had an eye out for a Cloud guitar, specifically Peach because Sign of the Times is one of my favorite records ever, and the Cloud was refinished Peach for that album cycle. But other than cheap AliEx replicas or people flipping Schecters for anywhere from $2,500 to $15,000, I'd struck out. Until the other week, that is. The price seemed good, less than what these sold for new, but not too good to be true AliEx prices. From the pictures, it looks right, but there were definite question marks. Still, I decided to take a leap of faith. As you can guess, I bought it. But is it real? Let's try to find out. Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily. And if you knew this channel name was a Prince pun before this moment, we're friends, and there's no room for discussion on that. Let's talk briefly about the history of the Cloud guitar. The true origins of the Cloud are a little murky. Please appreciate I didn't use a Cloud pun there. But the general consensus is that Prince's Cloud, which was originally built by the remarkable Dave Russin of Russin Guitar Works in Minneapolis, was inspired by a bass guitar played by Andre Simone in some of the early Prince videos, which I want to say was made by Jeffrey Levin. Regardless, I don't believe it was a production guitar. Again, Russin built the original Cloud, but eventually Prince would have Schecter make a series of Cloud guitars, from my understanding both for him to use and to sell to fans. I'm not exactly sure how many times Schecter made Cloud guitars, but they were always in limited runs. Some of these were made and sold when Prince was alive, but after he died, his estate worked with Schecter to produce Cloud guitars a few times. These Schecters came in several colors, including peach, and were sold for $1,750. Needless to say, I didn't buy one when they came out. For one, we were saving to buy a house, and secondly, while I would gladly play a Mad Cat replica on stage, it's basically a funny looking telly, I'd feel weird playing anything other than a Prince tribute show with a Cloud guitar. But anyway, let's hear this one clean. I'm going to be using the Benson Chimera plugin from Mixwave, affiliate link in the video description. All right, I'm going to start on the neck pickup and just play some open chords and move it on down the line. This is a little awkward to play. The body is really small. You kind of end up wanting to play it like a classical guitar. It's really, in other words, it's difficult to play with it on your knee. Not to get too many reflections in there. What did you think I was going to play? I'm not getting the full Cloud in the shot when I sit like that, am I? That's a jazz standard called Someday My Prince Will Come, and I just couldn't resist. But all right, let's talk a little bit more about this guitar. When I saw it on Reverb for less than the original Schecters, I was suspicious, but then I saw the photos. The shop is based out of South Korea, and they have had several Cloud listings over the past several months alone. The pictures that go with those listings, to my extreme surprise, were unique. Most of the cheap copies use stock photos, but Google Lens didn't pull up any duplicates of these pictures. In fact, all of this shop's Cloud listings had unique images and, weirdly, unique prices depending on finish, flaws, and things like that. I mean, this guitar looked really good in the pictures. The fretwork seemed especially nice, and nearly everything that I saw looked like every picture of official Clouds I could find, including, check this out. I actually couldn't believe this. There's a GraphTech sticker on the back plate, and the back plate still has the plastic on it. It also actually has, hard to see, has a battery compartment, which the DHgate and AliExpress replicas don't have. I'm pretty sure they use passive pickups. And those particular replicas also have the more traditional pointier headstock, which this one didn't have. It's my understanding they don't put those on the Schecters because they break off so easily. And by the way, mine does have a little bit of paint chip off on it. That's actually my fault. The 2017 Peach Clouds had a black Schecter logo on the back, Grover tuning machines, the serial number in gold, which is barely legible in pictures, on the bottom of the back of the headstock. In some other runs, perhaps older ones, the serial is printed between the tuners. This also has black cymbal inlays and side dots, not spades, EMG pickups, EMG 81 in the bridge and an EMG S in the neck, gold hardware, fully painted neck and fingerboard. They also came with a purple hardshell case. Other specs include a 14-inch radius, a 24.75-inch scale length, a 42mm nut width, 3-piece maple neck and maple fretboard, a mahogany body, and a set neck. We have a GraphTech Black Tusk XL nut. I hate saying that. That's so hard to say out loud. And a wraparound bridge, which is easier to say but hard to intonate. There aren't a ton of high quality pictures of confirmed legit Peach Clouds online. After all, I believe I read that only 100 or so were being made during each run of colors through Paisley Park. One thing I noticed on all of the confirmed ones, which is to say ones with serial numbers from someone who bought their Cloud at Paisley Park or Prince.com, they do have that sticker on the back panel. Do replicas sold in this price range, which is not so cheap, it's clearly fake, but still cheaper than new, have plastic on the back? The seller I found in Reverb is again based in South Korea, just an hour's drive from the Schecter factory. That is the factory where Schecter manufactured the Peach Clouds, according to serial numbers I found online, which have a country of origin. Anyway, we bought this Cloud hoping it was legit, as I would never buy something hoping it's a counterfeit. Who does that? You know, I thought at least the quality would justify the price. But yeah, anyway, let's hear it with distortion. I'm going to use again the Benson Chimera plugin from Mixwave, but this time I'm throwing their preamp into the mix. Affiliate link again in video description. Let's start with the neck. that again. So go this way now. Obviously not the best string muting there. I do apologize. I think Steve Selvage showed me how to play that, Rick. From the Hold Steady. Start at the bridge again. Again, that is just really difficult to get that upper fret access when you're sitting down with it on your leg like that, I mean. That bad note was all on me. All that is to say that there is a lot of upper fret access, and it's supposed to be worn more in the middle. This is not a guitar you really play sitting down, which has just made it a little bit awkward to play in this video. But let's get back to talking about it. Let's talk points for and against my Cloud being legit. I've unplugged it and took the strap off. I hope you don't mind. I think the proximity to the original factory lends credence to my Cloud being real. So does the presence of this sticker in the back. Really good fretwork, honestly. Overall build quality is good, from my perception at least. There are some obvious flaws. It needs a setup for one. The intonation on that G especially is just not quite right, and I'm worried that the nut is cut a little high. There's also some discoloration on the humbucker ring, which I think is really sus, honestly. There's a little paint flaw up by the neck pickup. The bigger one is on the side of the fretboard here, and I'll get better images of those later. You can actually feel this one with your fingertip. Another thing involves the plastic battery compartment on the back. It kind of broke the first time I opened it up. Again, you will see that later. But most of those things could be indicative of factory seconds, which would still technically be legit. I know Schecter does usually sell their factory seconds, but would the Prince estate allow them to circulate less than perfect clouds? I kind of doubt it. Another small detail that lends to this being real is the strap button here, and that's why I took off the strap. And in some lights, the whole button and the screw look gold, but if you look closely, the strap button itself is chrome while the screw is gold. This is hard to photograph, and not everyone posts pictures of the back of the guitar. But if you did, and a yellow Cloud I saw on eBay, which does have a serial number, has one picture where you can clearly see the button is chrome and the screw is gold. Before we get evidence against this being real, I'd like to implore you to like, comment, and subscribe if you're digging this video so far. I also have a Patreon at patreon.com/getoffset. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to our exclusive Discord server, and at $10, you get some merch. Oh, okay, well, I'm glad that's over with. Let's get back to the real content. Strike one against my Cloud being legit is frankly that this seller had so many Cloud guitars up for sale. Again, I thought only 100 were made per color run, but I could be way wrong about that. And for them to be selling a bunch of factory seconds would imply a pretty high discard rate from Schecter. Strike two is that it didn't come with a custom purple hard case. But again, a factory second might not have that. Strike three, this is a big one. You might have noticed it a second ago. No serial number. I know. You think I'm stupid for buying this at all? I did ask the seller about the lack of serial number, and I got the world's least satisfying answer. They said, quote, when you look at Cloud guitars sold by Reverb, some have serial numbers and others don't. This is not a serial number. It has a Schecter diamond logo, that's true. I sold a lot of Cloud guitars and all the buyers were satisfied. You can find out by checking my sales history, end quote. The seller was right that some Clouds sold on Reverb have serial numbers while others don't. But that certainly doesn't mean they were all legit. Not that serial numbers are always a guarantee that something is legit. I mean, plenty of fake guitars have serial numbers. I think there are some pretty famously constantly reused serial numbers for specific guitars, which helps you find the fakes, actually. Speaking of which, I could find 2 Peach Clouds sold on Reverb that did have serial numbers. The rest didn't. One thing about, quote, the rest there, nearly every one of those was sold by this same seller, the person who sold me this one. But I did find one sold in St. Louis in yellow that did not have a serial number. They had this note in the product description. As they were no longer permitted to sell, it does not have a serial number stamped on it. What does that mean? Who's they in this scenario? Schecter or the Prince estate? I'm assuming Schecter? I thought only the estate was selling these. However, one point for this one I'm talking about, the yellow one, being legit is that it does come with that custom purple hard case. Another Cloud, which also lacks a serial number but does have a hard case, was sold with a note, I bought this guitar direct from the factory that these were made at. The seller has an APO APUSA address, which probably means overseas military in the American Pacific region. If that's your mailing address, it means you live not unreasonably far from that Schecter factory in South Korea. Both of those guitars, unlike my listing, were random one-off sales here and there, not people buying and flipping tons of guitars, especially the AP address guy who said that he was the original owner. Which the shop I bought this from was clearly a shop. They were responsive, professional, offered to send me a list of the other Clouds they had, and they shipped the guitar very quickly and professionally. I mean, this was quality work from a quality seller. As for the sales history, this person has nearly no negative feedback from hundreds of sales. It's an established profile that goes back to 2020 or so. If they've been selling people fake, crappy Clouds, I think it would be reflected there, but I don't know. Like I said, they've sold hundreds of things, including Boss pedals, AKG microphones, and synths. Going back a year, they got reviews from something like 8 Cloud buyers. Like the seller said, the buyers were all extremely happy. One buyer even remarked how much better it was than the cheap $400 copy he'd gotten. So confirmed, this is better than those Ali X guitars, and that's honestly a huge relief. One theory one could have on this guitar, which I've alluded to a few times and is, for the record, not the theory I hold, is that this is a factory second Cloud guitar from Schecter and it doesn't have a serial number because of licensing reasons. But is there a way to confirm this? Honestly, I doubt it. It's kind of the point of a serial number. Frankly, most of me thinks this is just a really good replica that more than suits my needs as someone who, for some reason, felt compelled to own this ridiculous looking instrument. Real or not, I'm happy with the quality for what I paid, and that's honestly all that matters to me. But I decided to dig in a little bit more anyway. I found someone who was asking either Reddit or Quora about a Schecter with no serial number. No replies. What about the gear page? Nothing. A few cases here and there with the answer usually being probably a prototype or probably a refin, which neither of those are going to be the case here. And that's about when I stumbled on a sold Reverb listing with the custom case that I'd missed from a seller in Seoul, South Korea. At the top in bold print, and this is going to be like my emphasis, note, this guitar is factory stock. This guitar does not have its serial as pick. Same as brand new, only factory stock. So normally I think of factory stock as being everything is original to guitar, no modifications. But the line that's same as brand new, only factory stock makes me think they mean factory seconds or sold at the factory, which, you know, would be exactly how someone who is selling a counterfeit guitar would explain it away, but I don't know, guys. Maybe I'm just really gullible. And hey, maybe everyone is telling the same lie because multiple people have said that. Well, we can still look over this Cloud together and see if we change our minds. Maybe it's a total mess inside. We're gonna find out though. I'm gonna take this to my workbench and open it up, and I'll see you in a second. All right, here is the Cloud up close. I took the humbucker out completely. There it is. I didn't do that for the single coil, but you can see in the cavity, it has the shielding paint, the quick connector there. Don't know what else to say about that. Let's go around to the back and get a better angle on this. That is the screw, and you can see it's more silver or chrome around that part, the big fat part of the strap button, but the screw itself is definitely more gold. That would be such an amazing piece of attention to detail. It has that felt washer, same with the other strap button. Let's take off this. I've already unscrewed it. I've actually already looked at it, but this is very nice in line with the body of the guitar. Again, it has the plastic on it. It says Graph Tech, black tusk. The wiring itself is pretty clean, has a nice bundle right there. But you can see here where part of the plastic came off of the battery compartment the first time I opened it. That is a piece of plastic, which is very strange because it's not even on like the main side of the compartment there, but yeah. If anybody knows if Schecter ships out the electronics with something from Better Battery Company, let me know. I've never thought about it, but that could be one thing. You can see the shielding paint. One of the pots is 25K, I think, is what I read. I can't really read the other one. It's pretty tight in there, but also it's pretty tidy. So that's really generally very nice. The paint, again, is really good, really nice paint job for the most part. There are some things that are iffy in addition to the chip that I did. I'm sorry, I feel bad about that. The most egregious part of the paint, which I really think that Schecter would not have like sold this A stock, is along the neck here. And that is just so hard to photograph, but you can really get your nail in there. And let me try from a different angle. I really don't know if you'll be able to see that, but again, it's right there. I think you can see that. I don't think they would have sold that as A stock, but again, the frets, really nice work there. Again, if this is a counterfeit, it's a very nice counterfeit, and what else could you ask for? Truly. But the big thing is, hold on one second. The big thing is really going to be the pickups, right? Because a counterfeit guitar is in this price range is probably not going to put actual EMGs. That's a fairly large expense to undergo. Usually you see really cheap counterfeit EMGs with these. I think Ryan Burke from 60 Cycle Hum bought a guitar with counterfeit EMGs. I'm not sure if they were actually active pickups, but a lot of the counterfeits don't even have actual active pickups. So here's the EMG, and let's turn you around so you can get a better look at it. Okay, so here is that EMG, all signs. And there are some main things you should be looking for when you're trying to spot a fake EMG. Well, obviously they're all gonna have the logo, but this logo is embossed. You can put your nail in there and feel it, and it won't rub off. The next thing is you wanna make sure these leads are golden. And again, this is all my understanding. I've read up on it and I've looked at lots of pictures of real and counterfeit EMGs to be able to see these things. This plastic piece right here is not generally on the counterfeits. I think resin or rosin, it goes up to the edge of the pickup, so you can't really feel the separation. So that's all looking good. And it has a holographic sticker on it. And the holographic sticker, which I doubt you'll be able to read because it's quite small print, it says EMG genuine. It says EMG in like 15 places. This is like when you look at a $1 bill or $20 bill and there are like 15 watermarks. There's lots of different things for you to check. This has a lot of things for you to look at. So there's a serial number, 213601622. I believe the neck is a very close number. The last four numbers are 1733. So They're obviously very close and match to each other if they're real. What kind of throws me off is the date. It's May 3rd, 2018, and it's the same date for both of those, which would lead me to believe that these were in one single shipment. But okay, let's go back this way. Okay, here you go. These guitars, from my understanding and from my memory and from my research, 2017, and I remember that because that's the year I bought my house. We bought our house, and that we were buying the house is the reason we didn't buy one of these. So why did the pickup say 2018? That's a little suspicious. I could be remembering it wrong. It could have been that you ordered in 2017 and took delivery in 2018, in which case the date would make perfect sense, frankly. Or if this is actually a factory second, it could be a situation where they put in the electronics later. Again, that's not an accusation. That's just a wild, wild theory. There were other rounds of Cloud guitars in 2019 from my research. The blue and the white were sold in 2019. I don't think the peach was. I couldn't find anything about the peach being sold outside this 2017. So that is, that's definitely curious. Back to the EMGs though. The other thing is that these screws are imperial, and if they were Chinese copies, and it's just that China makes the most EMG copies, they tend to come out of China, those would be in metric because that's what they have there. So I am pretty confident that the EMGs are legitimate, which just makes this whole thing a lot more confusing, because when you think about everything, when you think about this as a package, it's a very well it's a very well built instrument. It just doesn't have a serial number. So I am going to go ahead and set this back up. Hopefully, you know, make a few changes, make a few adjustments here and there. I forgot to show you the nut. I tried. Let's put it back together. And I'm back, but I want to know, what do you think? Is this a really good replica, or is it factory seconds that probably weren't supposed to be sold in the first place? Are you just surprised and confused at this point that I haven't reached out to Schecter directly? I mean, for one, I don't know anyone at Schecter, and I don't know why anyone there would look into this like at all. Their own website says that nothing without a serial number is under warranty, so I'm guessing they just assume it was a replica. Listen, I don't know. I'm not trying to break news to y'all. I'm just telling you a story. You're still here, so maybe it's kind of entertaining. If you liked this video, please check out one of the other videos on the screen, because I'm willing to bet you'll like that too. And to everybody out there, thanks for watching. Thanks for understanding. Until next time, my name is Emily. Goodbye.